We are live. We're going to dive right in here and talk to you about how to unleash your career. And we are mainly talking to engineers and operations leaders, but I do work with individuals across all of the professional spectrums. And we're going to dive into it here. It's a very brutal labor market right now. There are a lot of things that are working against individuals as they're approaching the job market. And we're coming into December, Thanksgiving to December, a time when a lot of individuals think that things really slow down. And the truth is, they do, if you're going about this by going directly to applications. But if you're going directly to hiring managers and using all of the tools in your toolkit to truly harness your career advancement, that's another story. And the doors are wide open during the month of December. So let's dive in here. We're going to go into the presentation and I will be advancing through here. I want to talk a little bit about who this is really for. This is built for engineering and ops leaders who are wanting to advance internally or externally. And ultimately, what you're looking for is a sense of control. When the typical job search is up and down like this, you're sending out 100 applications and getting no responses. You're giving away control to recruiters and applicant tracking systems. Man, it is constant that we're giving away control in today's current job search. But you don't have to. You absolutely don't have to. So this is about having control, building your brand to ultimately grow your impact, internally or externally. We're going to go into 3 components here for a rapid career advancement. We're going to talk about, number 1, how to master personal branding. We're going to talk about increasing visibility, and how to work harder, not smarter, in your job search. So let's talk a little bit about why me. I am truly a networking expert. Throughout my career, have become an expert in utilizing LinkedIn to network specifically for myself. And ultimately, about 10 years back, I used to work for an executive recruiting company called Technifind, where I was the one responsible for booking all of our trips. 13 different countries, 33 US states. I had to fill 30 meetings on our calendar through networking with about 2 weeks notice and no network already built out. Then in my own job search, I took what I learned there and I applied it to my job search. And moving from El Paso, Texas to Seattle, Washington, I traveled 2 times over there, 4 days in total, and had 33 job interviews that I landed through networking, going behind the scenes, direct to hiring leaders. While at ADP in the corporate space, I was able to lead the global career development teaching program for all of ADP across the United States, India, and the Philippines for 60,000 people for 4 years. Networking, branding, resume, interviewing, being able to advance and build up in career there. And that really gives me a very unique vantage point to be able to step in front of you as an individual who led Fortune 100 career development internally, but also has the ability to help you and the process, the strategy to help you get to the table consistently for an internal or an external job search. I've seen behind the scenes of thousands of hires, and I know the conversations that are happening the moment you enter or leave the room. Okay, now, last 2 years now here, it's actually the last 3 years now, I've built out proven processes and have coached hundreds of operations leaders, engineers, HR, marketing, business development folks to be able to move up in their career and truly advance. I'm going to be trying to take a little peek over here and looking at the chat as we're going through this. So if you do have questions, I will try to see those and get those, but I will be multitasking in case I miss any of those. All right. I don't want you to just take my word for it, because I can kind of say what I want to say, but I want you to see it from other individuals that have worked with me. So here's Cameron Jensen. Cameron Jensen was able to land an internal consulting role with Hewlett Packard and ultimately decrease the amount of travel, make himself more available to his family, move into a new time of life, and maintain his compensation level while drastically decreasing workload. Before working with me, he had been at it for about 4 to 5 months. When he started working with me, he was able to learn the networking skill for life that helps him also as an internal consultant inside of Hewlett Packard. He was able to have clarity around his value proposition and what hiring leaders really needed to see and know from him to be able to see them in their world and then bring them into that world. Okay, so he landed there. brings life balance. Okay, now here we've got Ram Krishnamurthy. Ram Krishnamurthy, he was with Capgemini. And when he left Capgemini, he was able to land then with AWS and double his compensation. The thing about him that's really interesting, I just recorded a new testimonial with Ram. He was then laid off 9 months later by AWS. And because my program and working with me is lifetime access, he was able to hop right back into our group coaching calls, hop right back into the program and land a role and half again increase his salary moving to Genpact. Just an absolute amazing story in this time when loyalty between the employer and the employee is, I would say, at an all-time low. We are looking at spreadsheets behind the scenes and just deciding who we're going to lay off. It is absolutely wild. Control is what you need, but being able to get to hiring managers is the way to have that. So here's Will Sturgeon. When he reached out to me, he was in the 4th month of his job search, trying to switch industries and also move up to his first director title. And we were able to help him do that at 100% pay increase. And he was able to drill in his story, his value proposition to do that. So let's talk about how these individuals were able to get there. Three-part formula here that I want to talk about that plays right into career advancement in a rapid pace. And it is about your brand, your visibility, and being able to focus on the right activities. And we're going to get into this. So buckle in. You can pull out a notepad so you can take notes as we're going through this, but we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how you do these 3 things. Most job seekers, they really fall short when it comes to personal brand. At times throughout our career, we've sat down for moments and said, what do I need to put on my resume right now? And so 10 years ago, we put words on that resume. Now we're jumping into the job market and adding in a new section. Everything becomes disjointed. It's not a story that moves one focused point forward. We're not thinking about mastering our brand. We're not thinking about the lines of sight that people have to us and controlling those. But you can. When you want to advance in your career, jump straight to that resume, jump straight to that LinkedIn profile, and just fill in the blank, fill in the top. But everything else gets neglected. So again, it is not uniform. It is not a consistent story. Another thing that often happens with the LinkedIn specifically, you start sending out messages to your network before you have clarity about what you're going to be going after and delivering. Huge approach mistake that is commonly made. And where does it take a person to? They're just lost in the noise. And some of you might have felt this. Lost in the noise, not being seen. It just doesn't have to be that way. Hiring managers don't truly get to know you because you didn't come to know yourself first, right? Have clarity, your strengths, your stories, your value proposition. And ultimately, throughout your career continuously, you are underselling yourself and ending up undercompensated and undervalued, underemployed. So the 5-part formula to master your personal brand, to get away from those pitfalls. First thing that you need to do is you need to discover your strengths. As a certified strengths-based coach, I help individuals to understand the activities that fuel and engage them, the things that truly light them up, so that they can then position themselves towards that work. The research actually shows from ADP, from the Marcus Buckingham Company, from ADP Research, that the Research Institute, that you only have to be in your strengths-based lane 20% of the time, but a little bit every day. A little bit every day, but 20% overall. You don't have to be in your strengths lane all the time to be engaged, but you can't be out of it all the time. Next thing that you do is you craft your career stories, and these are your best career moments. That while you were doing them, you were also in your strengths-based lane. So now as you're putting yourself forward to hiring managers, you're thinking about the stories purposefully, the ones that are going to position you doing the work that you are most naturally set up to do, right? Your strengths lane. And then you write an absolutely undeniable value proposition. Nobody can look at that thing and cut holes in it and say, no, I don't believe you can do that. Because your stories, like it's a pillar, are propping up that undeniable value proposition. This is what I do. This is who I serve to this end. And here's my proof. This is purposefully crafting out your brand, owning your brand. You are not a prey to what other people say about you. you can change what people say about you. Once you have that level of clarity in your strengths, your stories, and your value proposition, then you step forward and you sit down at the table with a beautiful story-based resume template, and now you put the pen to the paper, right? Or now you start punching the keys because you are in one clear mind. You have focus. Everything on that page is driving towards your value proposition, towards it being so clear and obvious to a hiring leader who you are and what it would look like and feel like for them to have you on their team owning that work. And that is one of the biggest concepts right now. If you want to get hired right now, you have to show ownership. That you will take, right, based on your stories, that work, you will take something off of that human's plate. Not off of Apple's plate, off of that human, that leader, that P&L owner at Apple, them. I see you. I see what you could do if you had this removed and given to me, and I will not give it back to you. And your clarity helps that story be so apparent. The times that you did it, the proof helps it be so apparent and so easy for that person to say, I see you on my team. How do we make this work? And at the networking table, which we're going to talk about even more later, at the networking table, that's where that question happens. Hey, Ryan, I see it. How do we make this work? That's where the big salary bumps come. That's where HR and recruitment are not there yet until we have to get there and check that box. But you're already at the table. Some recruiters are not going to like hearing me say that. Some are going to say, praise God, thank you, Ryan, for helping people to step to the table and do a lot of the work for us and put real solid candidates in front of real P&L owners that have real problems. Connect problem to pain. Oh, those are the really good recruiters. Then the fifth thing that you're going to do is optimize your LinkedIn profile. You already did the work in your resume. It's pretty much a copy and paste. There's a couple of sections that are different, right? But your about section becomes a copy of your career profile and your career highlights with a call to action. It's simple because you are in one frame of mind. You are putting the pieces together like a puzzle, like each thing leads to the other. Everything is connected. And then you end with this clear branding that is in front of somebody so that as they're speaking to you, they get you. They understand you. As they're seeing your resume, it's validated. I was in a interview about 3 years back. I'm interviewing a person at ADP for a manager position. And I asked her a question about leadership as we were walking to the interview room, and she gave me an answer. We sit down and I ask her another question about leadership. She gives me a totally different persona, and I'm starting to get confused. I asked her a third question about leadership, and I got a third persona. And I'm like, who the hell is this girl? And I stopped her because I'm very upfront and I'm transparent and I'm going to do this. Most interviewers won't. But I stopped her and said, I can't remember her name. I said, hey, here's where I'm at right now. I'm scattered on who you are as a leader. And if I can't see you in front of my people, leading them in a way that I get, I have to be able to see you, understand you. You have to have clarity so I can have clarity. If I can't see that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to pass you on in this meeting to the next interview. She never recovered. She didn't have clarity. You have got to know who you are, how you're going to show up, and you have stories to back and show that as well. Okay, now, how does this help you? What does it do for you? It helps others see your value clearly. They get it. They get it. I can see you doing that for me. They see you in their world. It differentiates you from all others. Your clarity differentiates you from all others. If you have a question in YouTube, if you have a question in LinkedIn, pop them in. I can see them. I've got a couple of computers up. Okay? And it brings you unshakable confidence. Absolutely unshakable. When you can say, hey, put me in this situation, there's nobody better. It is so powerful. And that's not braggadocious to say that. That's you equipping a leader. A leader looks down at their P&L and says, hey, what resources do I have at play? What chess pieces could I put on the board? And when they get you, you become that chess piece they can play. That is serving them. Let's talk about Myberg Truder. So before the program, he says, hey, I was doing everything. I was doing absolutely everything. You can see these on my website, full video testimonials for all of these at jobhackersnetwork.com, and then click testimonials up in the top right. So he says, I was doing everything. I had professional pictures taken. I was, people worked on my resume, whatever, doing everything. And he wasn't getting anywhere, and it was absolutely demotivating. So then here, 2 weeks after we're working together, he sent me this picture and this little text string in social media. And he says, in the middle, he says, I'm having good conversations this week with Limeade, Expedia, Microsoft, and Hopper. I am feeling in the zone. And this was the campground that he was at with his family. And then this is a picture of his feet. This is one of my favorite pictures I've received from a client because what it tells me is I am at peace. I'm with my family where I should be. This is where we're going to get into working smarter, not harder. I am doing the right work, moving the needle forward. And so I feel at peace. Here's his results. Never once spoke to a recruiter. The recruiter organized the interviews, but everything happened with David. David was the CEO of the company. Took me 6 months without this. Took me 2 months to follow your advice and get it done. Okay? Let's go into the second component, mastering visibility. Internal, external, you've got to think about, and what do I mean internal, external? If you're wanting to move up in your career internally within the company you're in, you've got to think about visibility. Lines of sight to you, to your brand. The day and age where we could just do good work and move up, I'm sorry, folks, it's dead. It is done. It is done. We live in a moment where access to information is everywhere. And so there's always going to be another person that just steps out there and allows themselves to be seen a little bit more than you. You have to be very mindful of your brand, your visibility, the lines of sight people have to you, the stages you're on, the places that you're speaking, internally for career advancement or externally for the job search. In the external market, you've got to get in front of those hiring managers. Here's what Jeff Bezos says about your brand. He says, your brand is what people say about you while you are not in the room. I'm here to tell you, you can affect. You can change what people say about you while you're not in the room. 4-part formula for mastering your brand. We're going to start off with, we've already got, for mastering your visibility, we've already got the brand, right? Already got those 5 components solid. Now we're going to step to the market and we're going to say, what is the target role that I'm going after? And it's often good if you're going after, large, small businesses to think about scope. What is the scope? The size of the P&L you lead, the size of the team you lead, the size of the resources you're deploying. Scope. A director in one business is not a director in another, right? A senior manager at Microsoft is a VP just about anywhere else based on P&L ownership and team leadership. So identify the target role based on scope. And then think about the hiring managers. Who owns the center of control around that job that you would want to be built for you? We got the center of control, then the center of influence, and then outside of that is the stuff you can't do jack squat about. Center of control is what we're looking for when we're thinking about hiring managers. Who would control the purse strings to create the job that I want? Next layer, who would potentially influence the job that I would want? Hiring manager, control, that's your highest hit target. The ones who would influence it, that's a next layer. Third step. Assess your personal brand with each of those people, especially if this is for an internal job search. You are writing down their names and thinking, okay, that SVP of whatever, what are his lines of sight to me? What has he seen me do? What proposals has he seen me deliver? Presentations. Now, you think forward. Let me go into this right here. Now we're thinking forward on an action plan. So now we're thinking about that human and saying, when can I get in front of him again? Is it a one-on-one meeting? Is he going to come and do a town hall meeting in my office and now I can ask an amazing question? Okay, and by the way, those amazing questions will help you be seen. The quality of the questions you ask are often greater than the quality of the answers in terms of weight that you give. Okay, so think about your questions as one of your most powerful tools for internal visibility. External visibility, going after those individuals in target companies that could create those roles, getting in front of them, and preparing with amazing questions. Okay, inside of my program, I give you sheets for that, meeting worksheet, the questions that you need to ask to build upon and to essentially be building out that brand in such a purposeful way. And purposeful leads to control, strategy, process, plan. Okay? What does it do for you? You influence what is said about you while you're not in the room, right? The Jeff Bezos quote. Every conversation that you have is with the right person because you're thinking ahead. What is my target? Who are those people who control, who have the power, who have the true ability, not just the gatekeepers? I'm sorry, recruiters. I'm helping people go around you. Okay? Not just gatekeepers. Recruiters are there for a good reason. They're there to control volume. Right? There's a lot of volume and a lot of noise when you're going after those applications online. It used to be hundreds, now it's thousands of applications. And there are so many reasons for that. Thank you, ChatGPT, for making it easier for people to modify their documents and to apply, and all these AI-based tools. There is so much more noise in the world of applying online. You can avoid all of it. Right? You don't have to play on that playing field. And you are a partner. You are coming together in a networking conversation peer-to-peer. Even if that individual is an SVP and you're a director, at the networking table, you are coming together peer-to-peer, partnered. And you are talking to that individual about pain in their world and solutions you could bring. Pain and solutions, pain and solutions. How do we solve that problem? What does that look like, Ryan? Because you've identified pain and you've shown solutions, they can see you in that world solving that problem. And it's like magic. It's not magic. It's process. It's strategy, but it is like magic. Jamie Dahl. Jamie Dahl is another individual that's gotten 2 roles with me. So the first one was with Ørsted. She went from Equinor to Ørsted, and then she landed with RWE. She said she was shooting in the dark without a process. She felt stuck, didn't know how to network. She knew that she needed to, but she didn't know how. When she had the process, she had control. She was able to be at the table, not sitting on the sidelines waiting and hoping to get a response. And she said it was fast, right? Probably half a week, including a week and a half, including going through the interview process to get to offer. That was for the second job she got. First one took her about 2 months. When she knew the process and had that bulletproof vest of process and strategy, she was able to do it in 10 days. Work harder? Nope. We're going to work smarter, not harder. Okay, let's dive into this. So how do you work smarter, not harder in that job search? You focus on the things that you know are going to hit. Right? You focus on high ROI activities in your job search. You don't need to do everything. The Pareto principle, it talks about how 20% of our input in any system creates 80% of our output. Okay? It is the same for the job search. Let's dive into that. Some of the numbers about the job search that prove that the Pareto principle is live and well here. According to HubSpot, 85% of jobs are filled through what? Networking. According to Zippia, 85% of jobs are also filled through networking, a separate survey. According to CNBC, 70% of jobs are never published publicly. And according to LinkedIn study, 70% of participants that were hired by a company where they had an internal connection on the inside. So they were using their, what I call ICAs, ideal contact advocates, people that can advocate for you because they know you and you equip them. Okay, and that leads to also following proven processes, right? As that third component, second component here is going to be following proven processes. In your day job, I think this is really important to talk about. In your day job, when you're getting like a new project that just landed on your plate, how do you approach it? You put together a team. You bring SMEs to the table. You bring a program manager to the table, a process manager to the table. And you put together a team of resources. But in our job search, we take the strategic cap off and put it on the side and just jump in there and start applying to jobs haphazardly. It's lunacy. And it does not have to be the way that you approach it. You can approach your job search just as strategically as you approach any of these other projects that you would be doing. Okay. Third component is you engage a coach, that expert who has the ability to walk you through it. Right. You do this in your day job. You bring forward advisors, experts, subject matter experts, people who have done you reach over the aisle to somebody who's done this before. And you draw them in with their process. Here's what the data shows about bringing in a career coach or an expert. According to a study by Harvard Business Review, job seekers who used career coaches found new jobs 20% faster than those who did not. According to a survey conducted by LinkedIn, Employees who used career coaches were promoted at a 50% higher rate than those who did not. First one was about finding a job externally. The second one is about being promoted internally within the inside. So now we're seeing 20%, 50%. And then here down at the bottom, a survey conducted by the Institute of Coaching reported that coaching helped executives increase their income by 22%. And there is no career coach out there that's going to cost you 22% of your income to be able to work with them. Okay? So we're looking at economies of scale, returns on investment as you're looking at career coaching, bringing that professional in there. Okay? So you've got your 3-part formula to work smarter, not harder. High ROI activities, proven processes, and bringing in guidance. Bringing in individuals who have coached people to where you want to get to before. Okay, you'll know the investments of time and energy are in the right places. They are advancing your career forward. You know that it is not about spending time and energy. It is about investing. And we do expect a return on our investment, right? Your job search is actually pretty fun. It's pleasant. It doesn't have to be painful. And you get faster results with greater earning outcomes, okay? I want to transition here. So I want to ask for your permission to transition to a little bit of a question. And the question is here. Is this something that you would like to have help with? If that is something that you're saying yes to, then I want to offer up our calendar, myself and my associates, myself and my team, okay, for us to be able to talk one-to-one about your career advancement strategy. Okay, you can see the link there. Let me put that link. Let me see. Do I have it on paste here? I'm going to put this in LinkedIn. There we go. So the link's in LinkedIn. And then let me get this over here as well. Boom, boom. And I'm going to get it into YouTube as well. Okay. All right, so we got it in both places on LinkedIn and in YouTube in the chats. And that would be the link to get onto our calendars, but you've also got it shown visibly down here below. If on replay you are not able to see those chats, so you'd be able to type it out. Over the next few days, we're going to open up limited time to talk with individuals about their strategy to beat this current labor market, to be seen even as you're walking into these holiday months. You absolutely can get a job in December. Absolutely. But you need a process to follow. Okay, as you're getting in here, we're going to help you with the Job Hackers Method, which is the ABCD. Everything stacks on everything else. It is an on-demand program that has been used by hundreds of individuals to get to the table consistently. And why is it called the Job Hackers Method? One, because I am a nerd and I love the name, right? The concept of hacking, even if Google search doesn't like it so much and thinks it's something nefarious. But I digress. The Job Hackers Method is all about going around the system, hacking the system, doing it differently, playing on another ball field, another ballpark, having strategy and control to advance forward in your career. I want to ask you, what would it be worth if you were able to control your career advancement every step of the way and know that you had a solid plan? What would it be worth if you could land a dream job? And a dream job is not something ethereal. It's not pie in the sky. It's a job that matches to your strengths, where you are paid at your true market value doing work that you love. You are coming home with fuel in your tank. Here's what Michael Green had to say. He said, my typical approach to networking just didn't seem to work. He said, I kept on coming home to my wife saying, hey, we're going to have an offer tomorrow. We're going to have an offer next week. He said it happened multiple times and it just wasn't happening. And the job search now started to feel so different than it was before. When he stepped into working with me in the Job Hackers Method, he had proven processes that led to jobs being created for him. Multiple jobs together at the same time. But you ultimately have two choices. You can choose to have that career advancement call to hear us out in terms of how we can build out high-level strategy to get you through the current labor market. Or you can choose to go at it alone. You can choose to continue down the path you're on. Ultimately, it starts here with a call. A free step to vet that out with us. Now, I'm going to click over to a video. I'm going to let this video play out for the next 5 minutes. I'll leave with that, the URL up on the screen, and I'll repaste it into the chats. Well, there you go. That's all she wrote. I want to implore you to book time. If you're not already figuring it out, the job market sucks right now. It is harsh. It is hard. There is so much clutter and noise out there, and it is taking people on average 6 to 8 months to land gigs, to land good, solid paying jobs. I'm talking about those ones from 200K up to 750 in that space. It is very, very cloudy and crowded. And you need to get to hiring managers behind the scenes. You need to control your visibility, control your brand. You need to work harder, not smarter. Smarter, not harder. Let me switch that up. I'll say that wrong sometimes. Focus on that Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 20% of your input is going to create 80% of your output. Get on our calendar. We'll talk to you about what a high-level strategy would look like for you. And if it makes sense, if there's fit on both sides of the table, then we'll talk to you about what our program looks like, how we can help you get there quicker, as we've done with hundreds of other individuals. We know how to cut through the noise, go around the noise, ignore the noise. Okay? Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video, whatever format that takes.